I'm seeing an incredible amount of filth online at the moment about AI. Everything I'm digesting across social media and YouTube is telling me that I should be focusing on the wrong things. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about this, and it's pushing people like yourself. My number one job today is to educate people like you who are in the AI arena or have businesses who are looking to implement AI into their business, where to focus their time and energy. Because honestly, no matter what they tell you, those 72 AI agents grouped together in NAN can't birth children, right? They can't. They can't be deployed to handle end-to-end business systems. It doesn't exist. In essence, they're piecing together all of that group to make it valuable, right? But the breakages, the complexity, the depths, the levels of lack of segmentation in that approach is going to cripple you. I've made millions in the AI space. I am a top 1% global freelancer on Upwork. If I am getting overwhelmed and confused by what I'm seeing, then I can only imagine what you guys feel like. So if you stick with me for the next 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to showcase to you exactly where you should focus your efforts, why the AI agents in particular, which is the one that's really irked me, it's just digital filth, and it's been put out there and it's misleading people like yourselves. And it's my job, I feel like my job, to step in and to explain where you should stay on track, and you should actually make sure that you're focused on what you can sell to businesses. You will have seen a copious amount of individual flows, templates, etc., that you can download, that you can implement, that all come from AI agents. But the truth is that AI agents alone on their self and grouped together is where the problem starts. But the AI agent model is cool, is cute, is usable. But when you start to put all of them together and group them into the whole system, instead of having individual flows or sub workflows, etc., to run the business, you get stuck in a position where things are going to become very, very complex, very, very, very quickly. Okay. And I don't want anybody watching my content to fall into that trap when all you're trying to do is sell AI to businesses. 10% of AI can be sold to businesses. The other 90% is just garbage. By garbage, I don't mean you can't have fun with it. Please have fun with AI, because you should. I do. I play around with AI all the time just to see what its limitations are, what you can make it do. But the fact is that you need to make money. And in order to make money, you need to sell to businesses. So today, this is a practical guide for business owners, freelancers, consultants, marketing professionals who want to cut through the AI noise, which is the loudest it's ever been right now, and build real value. And the way that we're going to do that is by looking at the complexity trap as the first stage. Okay. So these outlandish claims that these AI agents are taking over and that you are in a position now where you can actually just build out a whole deployment of AI solutions for a business using AI agents is wrong. You're promised that AI agent swarms, they'll replace entire teams. They won't. They will break. Okay. Novice creators or inexperienced, let's say inexperienced, I don't want to say novice, inexperienced creatives or inexperienced marketing consultants or businesses when it comes to the AI golden egg. What happens to them is that they look at the individual flow, they look at the individual task, and they try to make it as complex as physically possible. They think they have to have all of these abundance of steps to make it bulletproof. Well, actually, every single time you add an additional step, you make it more fragile and vulnerable. And that is exactly why the AI agents have got me irked, because AI agents do exactly that. AI agents become this massive tangled up knot that you are then stuck with. And when it comes to an issue, which you will 1000% have with that approach, you have, one broken link, one missing parameter, the whole thing falls on its head. And it leaves you in a position where it's very, very difficult to debug. It leaves you in a position where the client's on at you. My onboarding system with everything that you've told me that you've promised together looks great in demo, but actually in reality it hasn't performed. Well, don't be sold on the complexity. The truth is complexity is a bug, not a feature. Complexity is a bug, not a feature. It's something that will cause you to have more problems further down the road than what it will do if you look at a project and look at the simplest way to achieve that with the best possible output. That is how you should be looking at AI. Now, the golden rule of real value when AI comes into this arena, when AI entered the space of business, the golden rule of it is for you is to forget all of the shiny objects and stuff. Check out new tools. Things change every day. You need to be at the forefront of that to make sure that you stay, well within your boots of an experienced, or as you go along your journey, become an experienced AI automation consultant or agency, or even a business that's implementing this. You need to know what's available on the market. But real business value comes from only two things, and two things alone: increasing revenue or increasing savings and profit. Now, those are top end and bottom end. Every system you build should serve one of those two goals, and it should serve it with concrete capability. No AI on the planet is 100% bulletproof. I hear that, I understand. But the difference between a massively, hugely complex flow involving multiple AI agents, sub-workflows, etc., research, documentation, or tools that are incorrect, the difference in the chart, which shows you the hit rate of how consistent you are, very similar to my video on system prompting and engineering, it's going to be off the mark. And that means that you are then focusing on things which are not in part of the golden rule. And I can't explain to you how much businesses focus on these two things. When you have a sales call with a client, or as a business sat here watching this now, right? Let's say you're a business owner, you own a business, and you're sat watching this video. There's two things you care about. You care about increasing your savings and ultimately gaining profit. So whether that's efficiency from team members, whether that's time spent doing tasks yourself, whether that's repetitive tasks that are plaguing the business, maybe that is I don't know, operational efficiency in terms of the way that your HR funnel is managed, whatever it is, that is a critical issue for you and is something that you would like somebody to solve for you. And that's how you should look at it when you speak to businesses. The top end is increasing revenue, speed to lead, inquiries, SMS email marketing, automation, extracting information, generating more leads, ensuring that leads are managed more efficiently once they do come through the door, none are missed. There are reminders set, there are triggers sent when things happen. Increasing customer lifetime value by implementing churn detection techniques into businesses is a big thing I sell. And the difference, and the reason why these things are so important, is because when you look at this, right, from a perspective of a business's point of view, let's use green. When you look at this from a business point of view, this 10% here, which is the revenue, this is the profit. This is where you want to focus your time and efforts. Okay, this 10%. Well, the 90% that falls into this of shiny AI objects that look really cool and can do really cool things, and maybe they can generate really cool images, which is something that I actually released yesterday or a couple of days ago about creating AI images. Yes, they're amazing, but they have to be implemented into a system. So if you were using that, for example, if you were using Imagen 4 to produce images that went into a presentation deck that somebody in a sales team could use, excellent use case of using AI imagery. If you're sat in your bedroom creating a Fortnite character skin using Imagen, probably not going to be saleable to a business. And this is exactly where you're falling into that trap when it comes to complexity. The only difference is you can't see it. It doesn't make sense like I've just explained it to you there. It actually falls into a category of you think that it's right, but it isn't. 90% of the stuff that you're seeing, AI agents, and I do want to just repeat that I'm not saying you can never use AI agents at all. I'm not saying that. But AI agents relying on it to handle the whole funnel is an issue, okay? This 10% of AI here that increases profit, this 10% that increases profit, this is where your focus needs to be. This 90% of AI over here, which is just a flat line and is a waste of time, okay, is a waste of time, that is going to be where you're going to be having conversations with businesses or spending your own time trying to learn AI and actually leave yourself in a position where you're learning skills which aren't applicable for saleable assets. Our key, my job today, is to get you to focus on this 10%. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. And because I'm hearing so much noise, it's making me feel like I need to do this. So if we go back to this and follow the golden rules, there's 2 golden rules that you need to follow. You need to increase revenue, and that tends to be at the top end, which is getting more leads, converting leads faster, increasing customer lifetime value. I gave you the playbook there. Like I gave you the playbook: lead nurturing, SMS, email, how how the new inquiries experience is once they come through their workflow, how the team pick up their inquiries, things like something I created for a business recently, creating a generate AI summary button inside of HubSpot that gave them an up-to-date real-time summary, so that if other members of the team were speaking to a client and they'd had calls and stuff like that, and then I don't know, a client relationship manager needed to go in there and see exactly where they were at that time, they would hit this button. But depending on the information, it would also have a separate score, and that score, if it hit a certain number, either low or high for an upsell, low for potential churn, it would be pinged off to the client retention manager, and they would pick it up from there and deal with it, book a call with the client, and ensure that they're using their SaaS properly. So these are all areas that you can focus on when it comes to that. When it comes down to increasing savings and profit, and the reason why I think this is such a big deal is because I think these are easier flows to build for beginners. I feel like reducing manual hours of manual input is something that you can pick up really, really, really quickly. Like you can pick up within a month of education, probably a lot less. It depends on what your background is. Like literally within a week, like I could build different flows that did different things because I was already in the digital arena. If it takes you longer, it's okay. Don't feel under pressure. Well, but all I'm saying is reducing this bottom end of increasing savings and profit by reducing manual hours, automating repetitive tasks, and improving operational efficiency tend to be easier than if you were to build a two-way. This is just an example: a two-way SMS system for a business, because there's going to be a lot of back and forward when it comes to what you can say, what you can't say. I tend to avoid those sorts of industries where that becomes important. If I was going to start my AI journey again now today, I would ensure that I only focused on large ticket, highly profitable businesses. I wouldn't focus your efforts on looking at, I don't know, legal, finance-based businesses, accountants, anything where there's potential for liability on their part. That causes massive friction when it comes to the use of AI because it can't make statements, conveyancers, anything to do with solicitors and lawyers. Those sorts of things, avoid those. Stick to the cream, which is like the SaaS businesses or the high-ticket lead generation industries. Those are the areas that you should target. But if I was to pick one that was easier, I would say it's the manual data entry is a really good entry point for you. Pun intended, is a really good entry point for you. But either of those, as long as you're focusing on those, that's it. An AI agent that can go out there and research the weather for you is not going to generate you any money from a business perspective. I highly doubt. If anybody proves me wrong, just comment below and I'll apologise. But I don't see how AI agents all being grouped together like that is going to work. The thing is that surprises me and should surprise you is that it's actually incredibly simple. The business blueprint that you need, once you're competent enough to be able to deploy this or sell, earn and learn, is a big thing. When you look at this, most services businesses run on a handful of core processes. You can literally look at one, and what you build for one will stick and stay and be usable for somebody else. I have a thing in my arena where I focus on tech stacks. That's my niche. So like people say niche down into this and then they'll go into this area and it's SaaS, or they'll go into this area and it's whatever. I focus on tech stacks. So my tech stack that I actually have is like, well, if I build a massive flow out for Freshdesk, and I build a massive flow out for Zoho, and I build a massive flow out for, HubSpot, right? I build out these flows for churn risk detection. All of a sudden, every single business that's available that uses that tool that I can apply that to. It will be different. There will be different messaging. It will be different structures. Things will need to change, of course. Nothing is going to stay exactly the same. But it gives you that sort of 80-20 rule where you did all the hard work the first time you did it. When it comes back around to it, you take the 80% of it, what you've done, you change the 20%, and that gives you the output that you need from a perspective of actually being able to deliver. The simplicity of this is so simple. Focus on these 5 areas. Lead generation, speed to lead systems, automated scraping of qualified leads, personalized outreach. Appify, Apollo, CloseBot, SMS systems inside of N8N, Twilio, anything that you need to get rolling. Email is obviously a simple one. WhatsApp, Telegram, all of these individual things, LinkedIn outreach. There's so many different opportunities that you can focus on here. Big green light for that one. In fact, I'm going to change the color. Big green light for lead generation. Okay, solving lead generation issues for businesses, it pays the bills. Now, sales. Sales is a big thing. What you often find is that instead of a sales rep actually focusing on picking up the phone or taking their meetings and taking their calls, they're very inefficient. They're operating at like 50% rates, 40% rates because they have to do things like they have to go and log their meeting that they just had into HubSpot. Well, incorporate a tracking tool, Granola, Fireflies, into their meetings and have that automatically passed over to that HubSpot deal so they don't have to go and do the data entry. It falls a bit under data entry as well. But automating proposals when they've spoken to a client. Literally, if they could just have an N8N form that they filled in and said what it was, and it went off and generated the PandaDoc, fired it out there, had the invoice attached to it. You can obviously, there is a feature in PandaDoc, you can have the payment at the end of it. But if they didn't use that and they wanted to use something else and you fire the invoice off, all of these things once signed, you can do all of these automations, scheduling and payment processing, money makers, real money makers for businesses. Businesses want to get paid, they want to make more sales. That's just a fact. Client onboarding. Client onboarding is one that when you sell it, you have to make sure that you sell it properly because some businesses don't think that they have a problem with their client onboarding. But what you'll find is that every single individual person that comes through their door, right? Every single individual person that comes through their door has a different experience to what another one had. Some of them, go extremely well. This varies massively as well, depending on how much human input is done during the onboarding. If human input is done during the onboarding, this is a major problem for businesses, and they waste a lot of time on it. Found some gold in there when that happens. Service fulfillment, so AI assistant content generation, asset design, like I just mentioned to you a moment ago. If the presentation decks, pitch decks, whatever, reports, things like that, you can use tools to do it. Data analysis, you could use them. You could use something like Bolt to build them something that their customers could actually log into. Like you could, it's crazy. There's so many different things you could do, but service fulfillment is a big one. Anything that can help them deliver a better service, they're going to pay you for. And finally, I've had to escape on that because I covered it all, but reactivation. Reactivation, okay, is slept on so much that I can't explain it to you, right? There's too many Z's when it comes around to reactivation because everybody focuses on these 4, and there's nothing wrong with that. These 4 different areas here are all critical to businesses. But reactivation is such a huge thing because businesses have data, okay? They have data. And inside of this data, they have people. And those people, at one stage, were actively looking for that company. So they were looking for that business. Now, depending on the company you're working with and the service they offer, for example, if it's a conveyancer, the chances of you being able to reactivate are quite low. If you're working with an e-commerce company and you sell mattresses, it's quite low because mattresses are changed over a prolonged period of time. But if you have something that's like a perishable product, for example, or a repeat service, for example, things like that, like in the AI space, this would be a good example. In the AI space, this would be perfect. You use the reactivation to reactivate these people using SMS, email, anything, LinkedIn, anything you can do, data enrichment from reactivation to find them and reach out to them in a new way. Pitch them on an offer. This is slept on a lot because businesses, like if they're large businesses you're dealing with, they will have a stupendous list. of individual businesses and inquiries that they've received historically that they're currently doing absolutely nothing with. And that is going to be somewhere where there is gold. Difficult to convert, but my average response rate from SMS in the UK is 22% for reactivation. You think about that. A business has got 100,000 leads sat in its catalogue. Well, 22,000 of them will reactivate and respond to you with the SMS approach that I take. I don't even know why I said UK, because I have US clients as well that beat that, and unless it depends. The United States of America is no different when it comes to SMS. The setting up of SMS usage and things like in the UK and Europe, WhatsApp is a big thing. So WhatsApp is a big thing you should be leveraging. In the US, it's not so much, but Telegram is bigger, I believe. Don't take that statement as gospel, but there's differences in markets that you have to keep in mind, and that's just a bit of a golden nugget from me, from experience of going through this. Automate what matters. Lead generation, inbound speed to lead systems, outbound automated lead scraping, outreach, personalized cold emails or DMs, client onboarding, welcome sequences, triggered emails after payment, resource delivery, automatic access to materials, service fulfillment, automatic follow-ups 30 days after completion, use AI to generate the first drafts or analyze data, etc. Help the team out doing all of these things. I think I have explained this in the previous page, but seriously, a simple two to 6 or 8 step flow could do what 15 AI agents do. Easy for me to say. AI agents do. And you don't have the issues of the complexity of breakages. And that's exactly where we're trying to focus. The creator's dilemma is understanding incentives. So this is where you fall into this category. You are in a position now where you're going to be falling foul to this, whether you understand it or not. I guarantee it, because I am as well. I've seen it. I've spotted it because I've experience in the game. I've got skin in the game, so I know. But when it comes down to the complexity, everyone's pushing complexity on you, and it's going to make you start falling into a category of where you need to make your flows more complex. You don't. The knowledge gap. Creators are incentivized to make their work seem increasingly complex. It's something that is natural. The bigger the perceived gap between their knowledge and yours is how you see them as an authority, right? I'm not saying they're wrong for that. It's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm trying to share education, right? I have a short that I made not long ago, and it was like, I don't care if you made 50 million, 100 million. There's things that I can teach you, believe me. And it doesn't matter whether I made 50 million, 100 million. There's things that you can teach me. And that's why I'm big on the network and collaboration element. But don't fall into the knowledge gap trap of when you're looking at these AI agents and stuff. The real secret is this stuff is not that complicated, right? AI is not that complicated. Fulfillment for businesses is not that complicated. When it comes down to what AI actually is, all we need to do is look at the business's bottlenecks. Where are your problems, sir? Oh, these are the issues. Okay, well, I can do X, Y, and Z, and that will speed up your funnel and will allow you to be more agile and more faster to market, faster to process, more streamlined, aerodynamic business that you've got yourself there. And all you've got to do is pay me this setup fee and this retainer. Okay, it's not in when it comes to AI, the devil is not in the detail, right? The detail is the problem. It really is. When it comes down to AI, that is the case. Your new playbook for automation from here on, I want it to be this. I want you to stop watching the news, right? I want you to stop watching the information. Stop looking at the rate of new AI models, the AI agents, the this, the that. This new system is better than all of this. Chasing the smartest model ever. Jumping on every new individual platform. Watching endless development updates around individual things. Reading through Reddit. Going through all of these things. Stop that. Start focusing on what truly matters. Favor simplicity. Aim for 2 to 6 steps. Obviously, there'll be many that are significantly longer than that. I could show you some of my flows that have got 100 nodes in them. But there's causation for that. It's not because I made it complex by design. It isn't. It was just necessary for that one individual element. The majority of my flows, they can have sub workflows in them, but the majority of my flows, they are between, let's say 10 and under. 10 and under nodes long, HTTP request here, process data here, set data there, send data here, extract this, update there, done. Like that's the sort of the sales pattern and process. Focus on fundamentals. Target the five core business processes that I mentioned. Understand incentives. Be wary of those who sell complexity because it's not true. You don't need to build complex information. And going to the contrary of this, I watch a lot of YouTube content from creators. I have a lot of respect for individuals, especially somebody like Nick Sarayev. I have huge respect for them and what they produce, right? And when you look at those people, you will learn and you will educate. But build, don't watch. So once you've watched and digested information, don't just go on a cycle of continuing to watch and watch and watch and watch and get paralysis analysis. Go in and build. Take that information. Follow one of my live builds. Look at one of my live builds. Go and take it. See, some of them have flows with them. So contrary to what I'm saying to you here, I do that. But anything that I've got that has a flow attached to it is because it's saleable to a business, right? It's because you can use it. If we're playing around with AI, I tell you right at the start. So build, don't watch, apply proven tools, solve real problems. Let's build what matters. That is ultimately what is the key. If after this video you still go and digest information around all of these crazy new AI agents and stuff like that and think that that's going to solve your problem, I guarantee you if you just sat down for 2 days and focused on picking a tech stack, I don't know, say HubSpot, Gmail, PandaDoc and Stripe and built out flows like that, or maybe pick Freshdesk and build out a flow for churn handling or ticketing triaging or whatever it might be, and just sat and built it, I guarantee you would have a saleable asset that is better and more concrete than what the majority of the other individual providers are creating at this moment in time. My name's Michael Elliott. I hope this video helps you keep on track because honestly, there is so much going on in the space at the moment that is causing issues. Like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. If you need any information with your own business and need support, book a meeting with me below and I'll catch you next time.